everyone, and welcome to another month of Moody Talks. So this month we will be honing in on interpersonal effectiveness, which is a part of DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. Now, the past few months, we have done three other parts of DBT, and that is mindfulness, emotion regulation, and distress tolerance. So I highly recommend you go back and learn more about those as well, because I found even though this particular therapy was created for people with PTSD, I think the concepts and the coping skills that come with DBT are great for all people, for just learning more about your emotions and how to better cope with them. So if you haven't gone back to the last 3 months, maybe check those out. You can do this without those, except for maybe mindfulness. Mindfulness was the first one we talked about, and it tends to build up basic coping skills that you can use through these other tenets, so to speak. So let's get into interpersonal effectiveness. So, who here hates conflict? Who here avoids conflict? Who here gives into conflict? Right? I'm sure there are so many others out there, not just me, who do not like conflict and try to stay away from it and many times give into it because we don't have the skills to get what we need out of them, right? We don't have the skills to help us feel more confident in not only getting what we need, but also maintaining relationships with others and our own self-respect, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And throughout the next 3 weeks, we're going to go through coping skills that can be used for getting interpersonal effectiveness. So we're going to start, number 1, with the overall goals of interpersonal effectiveness. Now I'm going to put on my readers because I'm old and I can't see close up anymore. So this is my first Moody Talk with the readers. Goals of interpersonal effectiveness. Be skillful in getting what you want and need from others. So that's the number 1 goal. Get others to do things you would like them to do. Get others to take your opinions seriously. Say no to unwanted requests effectively. So that's goal number 1. Be skillful in getting what you want and need from others. Number 2, build relationships and end destructive ones. Strengthen current relationships. Don't let hurts and problems build up. Use relationship skills to head off problems. Repair relationships when needed. Resolve conflicts before they get overwhelming. Find and build new relationships and end hopeless ones. So I find that the bottom 2 are just as important as the information at the top, like strengthen current relationships. I feel like finding and building new relationships is really important. And when we can understand interpersonal communication and effectiveness, we can tell when we are in a good or bad relationship earlier. We have to decide then if we want to stay in that relationship or start that relationship. But we're gonna need to understand who this person is. And I think by working through interpersonal effectiveness, you better understand what you need out of a relationship. So building a new one, you already are going into it knowing what you need. And also, end hopeless relationships. This is really hard for so many people. This is really hard for me. And, I've done it many times in the past. And honestly, it is a great skill to have, to be able to do, to end a relationship that just isn't working for you. Okay? And then finally, walk the middle path. Create and maintain balance in relationships. Balance, acceptance, and change in the relationship. Okay? So that's basically, like you're giving and receiving. That's what this is. But you're receiving. You're not just giving. You're not the caregiver. You're not the giver. You don't give everything and they give nothing. This is how you walk the middle path and you get both. You give and you receive. Okay? So those are the goals of interpersonal effectiveness. And then now we're going to go through the 3 clarifying goals in interpersonal situations. Okay? So there are 3 there are 3 goals here, okay? And each one is really important, and they all have their own skills, coping skills that go with it. And these are the 3 that we're going to create the coping skills for throughout the month, okay? So first, objective effectiveness, getting what you want from another person, obtaining your legitimate rights, getting another person to do something you want that person to do, saying no to an unwanted or unreasonable request. That can be really hard for many people. It's hard for me. Resolving an interpersonal conflict, getting your opinion or point of view taken seriously. I think a lot of us don't feel like we're actually being listened to or taken seriously. And with this objective effectiveness, this coping skill that we're going to be working on next week, I think it's going to be really helpful for those who feel like they need to be able to push their ideas and what they say to be taken more seriously. Okay. The next one is relationship effectiveness, keeping and improving the relationship. So acting in such a way that the other person keeps liking and respecting you. I mean, it sounds very simple, but then balancing immediate goals with the good of the long-term relationship, okay? Maintaining relationships that matter to you. I know this all sounds very, very simple, but it really isn't for us. I think that a lot of human beings have a hard time with, this goal here. Maintaining relationships that matter to you without, again, giving in and giving all of yourself without receiving. Okay? And then the final one is self-respect effectiveness. This is my favorite one. Keeping or improving self-respect. Respecting your own values and beliefs. Very important. Always remembering our beliefs and our values and living by them. And this means not letting people make you do things that you don't feel comfortable with and that are not a part of your values. Acting in a way that makes you feel moral, right? So you want to feel good about the things that you do and that people are not causing you to go against your values and beliefs, okay? Acting in a way that makes you feel capable and effective. Okay, so, you're acting in a way that makes you feel capable and effective. Basically that means doing the work that you want to do, doing and getting what you need with your own ideas and values, and not going against these things, not going against your values and beliefs, okay? Questions. How do I want to feel about myself after the interaction is over, whether or not I get the results or changes I want? So how do I feel about myself? This whole self-respect part, I think, is really, really, really important to remember, okay? And then the other is, what do I have to do to feel that way about myself? What will work? Okay? So this is about, I would say for the most part, this is about being in conflict and, holding on to your own values, which, when you go against your values, you have guilt. That is what the emotion guilt is about. When you yourself go against your own morals, values, ideals, okay? And so we don't want to feel guilty when we do things that others are asking us to do, or, not being able to do things that are in our value, that somebody has stopped you from doing something that you value or you believe in, okay? So I really hope that you guys will hold on for these 3, because I think interpersonal effectiveness is so incredibly important to learn. We don't learn them in childhood because we have a a different natural balance. For the most part, it's our parents and us. We have peers in the sense of our brothers and sisters, but for the most part, families don't exactly have like equal kind of interpersonal confidence in themselves. And when we get out into the world, it tends to be shaped in whatever way these conflicts, these relationships are coming into our lives. Are we learning that we can be in a relationship without changing our own value system? Can we get what we want from others without maybe giving in to other things, especially when it comes to values? You want something, so somebody else is like, well, if you do this, I'll do that. Well, I mean, you may end up finding out that you do that is something that's against your own values, and therefore your self-respect is going to be compromised. So listen in for the next 3 weeks. These are great coping skills that you'll learn for each of those. And we will see you again next week. Have a good week.